filter regularly, this is going to help everything circulate very well. Depending on how much you use the pool and how much debris is coming in, that's how often you're going to need to change this. So after you shut it off, first thing to make sure is that all 3 of these hoses are plugged. So that's what these are for. These are plugs, and they just go in the hole on the inside. They don't have to be all the way in just to block the water. And then on the inlet A here, you can see on the top, you turn it to lock, and then that's locked. And then there's no water that's going to come in. Next thing you do is you come down to the filter. So you turn this to open, this ring comes off, the lid comes off, this little rubber ring stays, but it's just on the outside of this lid, and then your filter comes out. Ours is particularly dirty because we just finished vacuuming the pool out. So you want to take this, take a hose under some high pressure, and just rinse the whole thing out. You also want to take this and dump it and get any of the remaining gunk out of there. And then what we do is we have a second filter that we cycle through. This one's already been hosed off. Just stick it in, put the lid on, tuck that rubber in nicely, turn the ring, in the closed direction until that's decently tight. So once the lid is back on, the last step is just to let the air out. So in order to do that, you're going to take this plug out and put this filter back in, just like that. And you do that on both inlet hoses, and then you unlock the outlet hose. You just come to the top and turn this towards unlock, and you hear all the air coming out. If there's any air in this system, then it doesn't, the pump doesn't work properly if there's any air in this system. Once the water comes out, close this, and then you can go ahead and turn on the pump, and it circulates everything for you. So this is how you hook up a pool vacuum. This is the pool vacuum. It's basically a suction head with a brush on it and a pole that we attached, and a hose. So the hose has on one end, it says connect to vac head, and this is just a pressure fit on there. Essentially what this vacuum is an extension of your filter system, and so you're basically taking your inlet hose and you're attaching it to this so you can move it around the bottom of the pool and suck stuff up. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is first make sure that everything is plugged here. So you're going to take these out, and then you're going to get the plugs and put them in. In the other side, you can do that with both of these. This comes out, this goes in, and that makes sure that no water comes in. And then this has a locking mechanism on the inlet hose. You just turn it toward locked. We essentially just take this hose out of the circuit and attach our vacuum hose to it. Just a little finger tightener. That comes off. There will be a bit of water coming out of this hose. And the other end of the vacuum hose just pressure fits on there. So now when we turn on the filter, this is going to stay closed, and so all the suction from the filter is going to go through that vacuum head, through the filter, and then into here. So you want to open this back up, and then when you turn on the filter, it's all going to come through the vacuum and through the filter. So when you're in the pool, you just take the vacuum and just run it slowly across the bottom, and it sucks up all that unsightly debris. You also want to get into the edges and the seams and try try and scrub the dirt up from there, because that's where things will wear on the bottom of your pool. So during the summer, we vacuumed our pool about once a week or so, but we have a very treed yard, so there's lots of leaves and stuff filtering down. Basically, when you notice there's debris on the bottom of your pool, it's not easy to scoop up, then it's time to pull out the vacuum. So sometimes air gets in the hose, and then it gets in the pump, and it makes a weird noise, and it stops sucking. So here's how to fix that. First thing to do is unplug the pump. And then if you take a look, this hose here that doesn't have the vacuum hooked up to it is probably full of air. That's where all the air goes. So over here, I'm just going to pull the plug, and you'll see this hose fills up with water. And then when that's all full, just put the plug back in. And then you also want to do the air release on the pump. When water comes out, you tighten it. And then let's turn the pump back on and listen to how that sounds. So it's much nicer now. You can see there's a few air bubbles coming up here, but nothing major. Unless this thing is full, then it shouldn't affect the suction too much. And then you just keep on sucking. Alright, so when you're done with the vacuum, then here's how you take it out. First thing to do is to turn off the filter. Okay, so I'm going to leave the vacuum and the hose in the pool for now, because this thing is full of water. So, make sure this is plugged. Turn this off. So there shouldn't be any other water coming through when we disconnect this. So there will be a little bit though, of water in here. But I'm going to take the hose off here. And then there's water in this hose. So I'm going to put this back in the pool, just so that drains a little bit. And then we've got this hose. This is the outlet hose from the pool, and it just connects back up to the pump. So now our pump system is all together again. And then I'm just going to drain this hose. So we want to keep one end higher than the other and drain the water out of here so it doesn't make a giant mess. So what I'm going to do is come up on the ladder, feed one end of the hose into the pool as much as I can. Alright, so I'm keeping one end high, the other end of the hose in the pool, and then I'm just going to coil it like this. So hopefully all of the water in this hose goes back into the pool.